happening tonight? Caution and concern in one New York State city that braces for thousands of protesters and perhaps as many arrests. In Weekend Getaway, we're off to the Australian Outback to search for gems. It's easier than you'd think.
60s and 70s in the forecast, and some thunderstorms as well. Real spring-like weather in the forecast coming up on the NewsCenter 6 Night Team Report.
Mary Beth Wenger, Budd Mishkin on sports, and weatherman Peter Bernard. Now, live, the #1 news in the Capital District. This is the NewsCenter 6 Night Team Report, featuring 11 at 11.
Good evening. We begin 11 minutes of uninterrupted news with what's happening tonight in Buffalo. The city is bracing for thousands of protesters who are converging on the city for 2 weeks of abortion protests that are set to begin tomorrow morning. Tonight, self-proclaimed militant feminists have vowed to physically remove anti-abortion protesters if they try to shut down clinics. The anti-abortionists plan to march in front of Planned Parenthood offices in hopes of stopping women from going in. It could turn out to be a repeat of last summer in Wichita, Kansas, where thousands were arrested. There have already been some problems in Buffalo this weekend, although no one was arrested. The police are laying down the ground rules.
We will arrest anyone from either side if they interfere with not only the clinic operating, but with police movement or police control of the scene.
Buffalo Mayor James Griffin, an avowed anti-abortionist, invited Operation Rescue to the city for the protests. Local authorities begin the week tracking down leads on Matthew Arbor, the convicted cop killer who may have been spotted in our area. Arbor didn't show up at a Binghamton halfway house after his release from Attica Prison. It was thought he might head to this area because he knows people here. Saturday morning, someone thought they spotted him in southern Albany County. He was last in jail on weapons charges. Albany police are on the lookout for 2 men who face attempted murder charges tonight. They stem from last night's shooting in Arbor Hill that put a teenager in the hospital. It happened just before 9 outside 42 North Swan Street. Officers say the 19-year-old male was hit in the side and the neck when one of the men fired shots at him. Well, this Easter will be unforgettable for a Ballston Lake family. The 61-year-old father is alive after an incredible water rescue on the Getaway Creek. It began with his son and continued by the local fire department. Darcy Wells has more.
We'll be there momentarily.
Somebody in the boat, you guys get your life jackets on in the back.
What you're seeing here is actual video of Ballston Spa rescue workers heading to the scene last evening. Emergency personnel arrived at the Getaway Creek within minutes of the original call for help. Paul Lozier of Ballston Lake and his friend Howard Strobe of Scatticoke had been kayaking down this creek when they ran into trouble.
From the road, Paul's son Kelly was keeping a watchful eye on his father when all of a sudden he disappeared by these trees. But fortunately for Paul, his son knew exactly what to do.
When I saw him go under, I was immediately shed my jackets and I was out in the water. I knew where he was. I could still see the boat. I felt underwater, found his life jacket, found his head. Began to rotate him up and get him out of the water as best I can. Rescuers say Kelly's CPR training and experience in the water is what made the difference.
We're surprised that anybody was ever able to get him out of the boat. The boat was trapped very near the bottom of the river, and the force of the water was holding him right in the boat.
Kelly says once he got his father out of the boat and up onto the log, he knew his dad had a chance.
We set him up on top of the log, and we saw that he was not breathing. He was cyanotic. He was very blue. At that moment, pretty scary, but at that moment I was very relieved because I knew there was something I could do.
That something was to perform mouth-to-mouth, which got his father breathing within about a minute. By then, he was responding.
My father has a long history of yelling quite loudly when he's in trouble, and when he started telling me, "I'm cold, would you please get me out of here?" I knew things were all right. He thought he was gone. He thought it was over. He said it was the most terrifying thing that happens. He claims that he'll have nightmares for a long time.
Most likely an Easter you won't forget soon.
Never. Never forget this Easter.
Paul Lozier suffered some cuts and bruises and had to be treated for hypothermia. He's listed in fair condition tonight at Saratoga Hospital. Well, when someone has been hurt, can they depend on their ambulance technician having adequate training? Not necessarily, according to a federal report out today. The study of New York's emergency services says the state doesn't set stringent enough standards for its ambulance services. Christian families across the globe came together today to mark their holiest day.
I'll bring with you in my bag. It's very big.
In churches from the Vatican to our area, parishioners celebrated what they believe was Jesus Christ's resurrection from the dead. In Hudson, the pews were filled at the First Reformed Church as families took part in prayer and music. An Easter sermon was offered for young and old alike. Over 100,000 people converged on St. Peter's Square at the Vatican for Easter services. Pope John Paul's message was a call for peace. It singled out ethnic violence in Yugoslavia and Nagorno-Karabakh, along with other trouble spots in the world.
He exhorts you never to base security on the force of arms, which destroy life and all fraternal civil coexistence. He exhorts you never to stifle with selfishness and with greed for ever greater material goods the noble plans of development and peace. Rather, seek freedom, truth, and love, which indeed set free.
The open-air mass was broadcast to more than 50 nations. Time now for our world nightcap of some of the day's other top stories. The leak that caused a devastating underground flood in Chicago's business district has been plugged up, and workers are ready to start pumping water tomorrow. It's been 6 days since the disaster, and businesses are planning to reopen tomorrow. A show of support for Boris Yeltsin in Moscow. Tens of thousands of people rallied near the Kremlin to denounce the Russian parliament. Lawmakers there endorsed a draft for a new constitution that would trim Yeltsin's powers. In Afghanistan, rebel forces are halting their attack on Kabul, the nation's capital. There are partial agreements to form an interim council to replace the deposed president. But some members of the extremist Party of Islam are refusing to join in the talks. They also vow to attack the capital and install their own strict Islamic government. The fate of Robert Alton Harris's life is in the hands of the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Harris was scheduled to die in California's gas chamber on Tuesday, but a federal judge ordered a stay. The Circuit Court will consider if death by gas is cruel and unusual punishment. It's known when the court will decide. The California executive was in 1967. Italian authorities will blast rock from erupting Mount Etna to divert the lava flow from the volcano. However, scientists say there's no imminent danger to the 7,000 residents of the nearby village of Zaffarana. Time now for First Forecast. Weatherman Peter Bernard has the first word on the rest of the holiday weekend, which is over pretty much. Yeah, it's heading on out of here, and we're going to finally bust through that 50 and 60 degree temperature barrier. As a matter of fact, we're going to get into the 70s this week. Finally, maybe you can open a few windows and enjoy the fresh air. Let's take a look at tomorrow's forecast. Around the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to expect a 50 degree temperature reading with partly sunny skies. Noontime cloud sun mix around 55. Around 6 o'clock, about 62 degrees. We're looking for a high tomorrow of around 70. More on the forecast and some news of some thunderstorms heading our way in the forecast in just a few minutes. Back to you, Mary Beth. And time now to check in with Ed O'Brien for First Sports.
Wish somebody would open a window in here. It's a little warm tonight. Dottie Mockery gets another fat paycheck as she wins again on the LPGA Tour. Mockery seemingly in trouble on 18 this afternoon, comes back in great shape, picks up the birdie and comes away with a one-shot win. Mockery's second victory on the tour this season. In hockey, the Rangers scored early in the first and again in the third, and they beat the Devils 2-1 in the opener of their Stanley Cup playoff series at Madison Square Garden. At Boston Garden tonight, Adam Oates gets a goal and an assist, but it's not enough. The Sabres hold on to beat Boston 3-2. Buffalo has never taken a playoff series from the Bruins. Now on the scoreboard in baseball, Yankees over the Indians 5-3. Red Sox with 4 in the ninth beat Toronto by a run. The National Mets over Montreal 11-6, and Reading beats the AC Yankees. And the score there was 4-2, Mary Beth.
Okay, thanks, Ed. Well, time now to check on what headlines you'll be reading in tomorrow's front page. The Daily Gazette reports on a water testing program starting tomorrow in Schenectady. The mayor announced the plan in which all Schenectady homeowners are being urged to have their home water tested for lead. The water department will carry out the tests. It's purely a precautionary measure. There's no need for concern, according to Mayor Ducey. And the Record reports on the trials and tribulations of 7 homeowners in a still unfinished housing development in Clifton Park. The company building Peacock Glen went belly up and has allegedly left the homeowners holding the bag with some still unfinished homes. Well, up next on Weekend Getaway, we'll show you a place where finding gems in the rough is as easy as sifting through a little dirt.
This portion of tonight's news is brought to you by the NYNEX family of companies.
As it warms up here, the down under summer is almost over. But weekend getaway reporter Mike Sanford takes us to the Australian Outback, where year-round a man helps tourists find their fortunes digging in the dirt.
We've already got picks and shovels over there on the field. We need some water. There we go, we've got some water drums over here. So we'll get these loaded up in the car and then get ourselves going over and see what we can find.
The beginning of a hot autumn day in the Australian Outback and the start of one of the world's most unusual travel experiences.
It's going to be dusty as all hell, so we've got...
Our guide, Graham Short, he started the Gem Tree Park a couple of years ago. You might say he's the Crocodile Dundee of Australia's gem fields.
Beats what I've done before. I mean, I was working the computer game before I started doing this.
It's 10 miles from Gem Tree Park to the gem fields. Somewhere out there, topaz, zircon, even sapphires. With a potential fortune just below, people waste no time hitting the dirt.
Oh, it's like gambling. You never know what you're going to find in the next sieve.
Come around here with the sunlight behind you is the best way. Oh, look, straight away, see there? But I come out here just about every day when I bring people out to sort of show them, right, this is how you do it.
A little determination digs up the gravel. Then a little sifting and shaking reveals your prize.
We've got it. We've got it. We've got it. Oh, it'd be worth $150, $200 when that's cut. The more stone you find, the more chance you've got of finding that one nice one, or two nice ones, three nice ones.
Should make a nice ring.
Back at Gem Tree, an expert judges the stones, and you can see what they'll look like after they're cut. But this down and dirty outback experience gives you more than just gems.
Here you're going to come out and sort of see the real Australia and do something you probably haven't done before.
I'm Mike Sanford for the NewsCenter 6 Night Team Report.
And if you want to find out more about the digging for gems, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Weekend Getaway, care of WRGB, 1400 Balltown Road, Schenectady, and the zip is 12309. Be sure to jot down gems. Delivery takes about 5 weeks. Summer-like temperatures are on our doorstep. Peter, what a difference a few days can make.
Oh, that's for sure. I think we all deserve some nice warm weather, and you know what? I think we're going to get it. The forecast coming up right after this.
NewsCenter 6 weather is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz.
Peter's talking 70s, and he doesn't mean the decade.
Well, we were hoping for 65 today, so I'm hoping to make it up to y'all by 70s sometime.
Yeah, how
this
much
week.
did we miss 65?
We only made it up to 56. We had too much clouds, too many clouds overhead.
It was for the most part.
Yeah, but it was a nice Easter. It
Yeah,
wasn't
it was.
too bad.
I had a good time, enjoyed it.
The best thing I can say was the rain held off.
Yes, that was the good part.
Sunrise services without any rain outside. You could walk outside and breathe the fresh air. It was pretty nice.
Now tomorrow when everybody goes back to work, except for people on vacation.
That's right. And if you have lunch outside, it's going to be nice. You'll be able to maybe eat outside. You know how they do it down at the Capitol? Might be a day for it tomorrow. Bring that brown bag.
Yeah.
Imagine they'll have the
leftovers,
weenie wagons going and everything. Yeah, right. Let's see what we did for today. It was a fairly nice day. We had some clouds out there, but for the most part, pretty nice. High temperature today made it up to 56. Our low 41. There's the normals, and precip was a trace just after midnight. Outside right now, cloudy skies. Our current temperature 49 degrees. Winds out of the south at 14. Humidity at 57%. Our satellite in motion tonight. You can see all the cloud cover down towards the south. That's the trouble spot right now, and they've got severe thunderstorm watches out. A couple of tornado watches out, some hefty storms moving on through. Large hail in eastern Texas, Oklahoma, parts of Kansas, and into Missouri. They had golf ball size hail in Maxwell, Texas, and they had Easter egg size hail in Cedar Creek, Texas. So the big storms happening tonight. For us, though, just clouds, and we've got a warm front that's just to our south. It's trying to move up into our area. There's high pressure just off the coast of Maine. It's keeping it from moving too fast. It did nose its way into Buffalo today, and they had some some temperatures into the mid-70s. We were hoping some of those warm temperatures would spill over into our area, but unfortunately that did not happen, at least this weekend. It's going to happen tomorrow, at least we hope. Thunderstorms, as I say, are lined up in the nation's midsection. It's been very cold in the northern tier of states. The Black Hills of South Dakota getting some snow up this way. It is still happening tonight. That cold front is very strong. It's pushing on in. That's a secondary cold front ahead of or behind this one that's pushing on through as well. National radar looks like this. You can see where all the storms are all lined up. No precipitation going to be heading into our area until around Tuesday. And then we expect some showers, and Wednesday and Thursday we may even get some thunderstorms. For tomorrow, high temperatures will be in the 70s through our region, lower 70s, and as you move down to the south, mid-70s and even upper 70s down towards Virginia. As for tomorrow's forecast, it looks like this. We're going to see clouds mixing with sun. It looks like it'll hold off as far as precip goes. That warm front should push on through, should warm us up nicely. We'll be back with your forecasts right after this. And we'll take tomorrow's weather for 300, Alex. The forecast goes like this. Overnight tonight, considerable clouds, some patchy fog down to around 45 degrees. And then tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds, a high of around 70, south winds 10 to 15. Sunset at 7:43. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy and mild, down to around 53 degrees. That's a very mild low temperature. Tuesday, we're expecting cloudy conditions, a chance of showers and 70 degrees. Wednesday, a chance of showers and 67. As we get into Thursday, thunderstorms are likely and a high of 65. Friday, scattered showers and 62. Weather phone is area code 518-476 WRGB. Now, you know the Weather Service guys, they're very sensitive about when a forecast is missed, and I think they missed it a little bit today, and they said on the discussion, if warm air doesn't make it into the zones tomorrow, people will be coming after us with tar and feathers.
Ooh, so they're not the only ones who get irate phone calls.
Oh, no. Well, they take it very seriously, and I am hoping they're right on this one.
All righty, we do too. Thanks,
Okay.
Peter. Well, in sports, another win for Dottie Mockery, first round Stanley Cup playoff action, and the Mets get a big break in their win over the Expos. Ed O'Brien has these stories and more next on the Night Team Scoreboard. This was a night Rangers fans have been waiting for all season, the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and Ed O'Brien's in for Bud tonight with the highlights.
That's right. That means in a couple of weeks now they'll be complaining about the gods of hockey casting them in the wrong light or something and not winning the cup again. But anyway, for now they're in their glory, Mary Beth. You know, it has been about 1 million years, maybe a little less, since the Rangers last won the Stanley Cup, but this could finally be their year. New York opening up Stanley Cup play tonight against the Devils at the Garden. Anybody get the license plate of that truck? Chris King leveled by Scott Stevens. Rangers get on the board early, just over 2 minutes into the game. Terreri with the save. King centers to Darren Turcotte. Second time around is the charm. Then in the third, Rangers on the attack, and Terreri is just leveled. Makes it a whole lot easier to score that way, and Mike Gartner does. Rangers take the opener 2-1. In Boston tonight, Bruins trail the Sabres 3-0 when Adam Oates takes the feed from Vladimir Ruzicka, and he gets the Bees on the board. Boston finally picks up the pace. Here's Oates with a drive from the point. The former RPI star has this one tipped by Ruzicka. The Buffalo lead down to 1. Bruins now with a chance to even the score. Ruzicka on a breakaway. It's broken up. Sabres hold on, and they win 3-2. Other games now in the NHL tonight. Washington over Pittsburgh in their opener 3-1. Hartford is beaten by Montreal, and the score there 2-0. Montreal wins that game. Another fantastic finish and another LPGA victory for Saratoga's Dottie Mockery, who comes away with the win at the Sega tournament. Dottie beginning play 2 shots off the lead in second place. On 14, this will give her a birdie and a share of the top spot. Meantime, things not going so well for Helen Alfredson. She has a piece of the lead until this bogey puts her one back. Mockery refuses to fold. On 17 in the bunker, no problem. Leaves herself in position to save par. And then on 18, after hitting into some TV camera cables, which might be a problem for most of us, look at this. This is all she needs for a birdie, which of course she picks up. And Dottie Mockery wins the Sega Championship. Elsewhere, Davis Love takes the Heritage by 4, and Lee Trevino takes the PGA Seniors Championship. All right, the Celtics are the champs of the NBA's Atlantic Division. They get to play Indiana in the playoffs. The Knicks, by finishing second, get to play Detroit. Good luck. Celtics looking for their 8th straight win, all without Larry Bird, looking as dapper as ever on the sidelines today. Kevin McHale splits the seam and somehow gets this one to fall. Miami coach Kevin Lockery knows he's in for a long afternoon, and he's right. 22 apiece for Reggie Lewis and Robert Parrish. Celtics win this one 109-93, and again that wraps up the Atlantic Division title for the Celtics. Chicago beat up on Detroit 103-85. 32 for Jordan. He wins the scoring title for the 6th consecutive year. The Pistons again play the Knicks in the playoffs. Atlanta loses to Cleveland 112-108. The Hawks, by virtue of that loss, out of the playoffs. Miami gets in. Phoenix over Houston 100-97. The Rockets blow a chance to get into the postseason parade. The Lakers can get there instead if they beat the Clippers tonight. They lead by 9. It's early. Now, in baseball at Fenway Park this afternoon, a thriller between Boston and Toronto, the two teams you know most people thought would fight it out in the American League East. Sox trailing in the 9th. Tom Henke on to face Mike Greenwell, who will drop this one in for a base hit. The Sox will get a couple. Boggs comes in to score, and they tie it at 4-4. And then a most unlikely hero for Boston. Scott Cooper bangs one up the middle off the pitcher's rubber. It's going to be close at first. Cooper, the head-first dive is safe. The runner scores from third. That's Phil Plantier. Boston wins 5-4. At the stadium, another offensive explosion for the Yankees. Mel Hall, that's right, an offensive explosion. Mel Hall hits home run number 5. Then in the 6th, Danny Tartabull with a drive into right. Mattingly scores from third. They send Roberto Kelly from second. He scores. Yankees lead by a run. And then Matt Noakes puts it away in the 8th with his solo home run. And the Yankees take it. Final score there was 5-3. As far as the Mets go, they won today in Montreal. Final score was 11-6 in a game that went back and forth for a while, but Hojo with almost an inside-the-park grand slam. A drive down the line, got by the left fielder Calderon. 3 runners scored, and then Hojo came around as well.
Well, all right. Thanks. Thanks, Ed. We'll be back with more on the Night 2 Report right after this break. As usual, a quick reminder to call our tips phone if you see news happening. That's 346-TIPS in numbers 346-8477. Or if you're in your car and you have a car phone, you can dial *6. That is a free call. And we're almost out of time. Before we go, we're not going to have time for check-in. Be sure to catch First News tomorrow morning at 6:30. Barney Miller is up next. Good night, and we thank you for watching.